Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Thank you for watching us. God bless you from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. We're going to talk about something very encouraging today for you. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking and sharing. Please share this with someone you know. Let's see how many people on this that listen share this video with someone else. More than enough is the title of this video. More than enough. Let me show you. Let's go over to 2 Corinthians chapter 3. We're going to begin in verse 4. It says in verse 4, 2 Corinthians chapter 3, beginning in verse 4, and we have such trust through Christ toward God. Not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think of anything as being from ourselves, but our sufficiency is from God, who also made us sufficient as ministers for the new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. This is what the scripture is actually saying. God will give you enough every single day you walk with Him. He is enough, and He will give you enough for that day. That also means if we believe that and walk in faith in that principle, then we become enough. If we are concerned every day about where our basic needs are coming from, and we are tempted to go this way and that way instead of just trusting God that He's going to provide for us, then we don't think He's enough. We don't think what He's doing and the way He's doing it is enough right now. We have to take it upon ourselves. And so that also makes us believe that we are not enough. See, we have a proper perspective of ourselves when we have a proper perspective of who God is. That's why. If you have a negative perspective of yourself, if you're constantly putting yourself down, or you don't think you're going to ever see good in your life or victory in your life, it's because you have a wrong perspective of who God is. That's exactly what it's saying. Paul is saying here is not that we are sufficient of ourselves, meaning we can't be enough. There's no source in us, in ourselves, that gives us enough happiness and joy and perspective and everything else that we need to be successful in this life without God in our lives, without God leading it, without God being the reason why our life is the way it is. He says, and we have such trust through Christ towards God, not that our sufficiency not that we are sufficient of ourselves to think of anything as being from ourselves. See, that's a right perspective. There is not any time at any moment that there is something that you do, that I do, that constitutes the good that we see other people experiencing or ourselves. It's either God working through us or God working through them. So God, based on 1 Corinthians chapter 1, receives 100% of the glory. We need to stop talking about how we do things and start talking about how God does things. Period. The last part of this says, who also made us sufficient as ministers of the new covenant, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter kills, but the Spirit gives life. So if God is enough, then we're going to believe we're enough. God is sufficient. He has also made us enough as ministers. Sufficient. If our sufficiency comes from God, then our being sufficient comes from God. Meaning, if what we have from God is enough and we are okay with it, then we are okay with who we are too. And that also comes from God. God bless you guys. Have an awesome day.